Recently, I reorganized my entire studio because it had become somewhat of a playroom for the last several months, but I really wanted to get back into work again, and I decided to reclaim my space. So I thought it would be the perfect time to show you guys around for a much requested studio tour. This is a cabinet from IKEA, which serves as decor and functionality. I've got this anatomy book that I use for reference, and I've got a lot of different decorative bits and bobs on the shelves. So there's some candles and ink bottles, and then I also store some art supplies here. I've got a clock, my watercolor brushes, a jar of water, some of my favorite fountain pens, and my watch. And then I've got my Galen leather writing box. This is one of my favorite items in the studio. I might show you a more in-depth view of some of these things later on, but here's just a quick peek at what's inside. I've got some calligraphy materials and some watercolor paper in here. I don't want to spend too much time on some of these things because there's a lot to get through for this overview of the studio tour. And then on the bottom two shelves, I just have these storage bins with some random wires and a little light box. And I don't even have anything in the second one because I had been clearing things out when I was reorganizing. In the drawers, I have some skincare and makeup products because the shelf frames this really large mirror, which I love to use when I get ready sometimes. So both of the drawers I have dedicated to my makeup products. The left one is for face products and then the right one is for eye makeup. The other drawers are for art supplies. So I've got my hot glue gun, my gouache, and then this is a bag full of alcohol markers from Ohuhu. These are some of my favorite colors, and the rest of them are actually in the cabinet underneath. This is kind of a junk drawer, so I've got some kid-friendly scissors, some hole punches, a label maker. On this side, I have locked up all of my recording equipment. So I've got my microphone, my tripods, my camera bag, my memory cards, my wires and chargers and things like that. And I love that this cabinet can lock because I don't want my kids to somehow get into all of this equipment, which can be very expensive and easily broken. On the other cabinet, I have things like art supplies that I wouldn't want my kids to get into, such as jars of ink, which could break easily. I've got my heat gun and some aerosol sprays like fixatives and spray adhesive that I don't want them to spray around. I've got printer inks, which can be pretty toxic for them. And then I also have things that are very precious to me, like my completed traveler's notebook journals, and then my alcohol markers that are really bright that I don't really use a lot. On the other side, I have a stack of board games and a camera, and then I've got another reference book. This one is more about plants. Then I have some washi tape and some watercolor dropper jars. I've got some colored pencils and then my internet router here. This kind of has to be in the center of the house, so that's where it lives. Then I've got the keys that go with the cabinets and some other random decorative bits and bobs. Underneath that, I have my bin of embroidery floss and embroidery hoops. And then under that, I have some paint palettes and some rags for painting. I actually have been getting more into painting on a canvas lately. I haven't recorded any of it, but it's been super fun. And then finally, I have a bunch of acrylic paints for painting on canvas, and then I have some recycled food containers for mixing paint. And this is where I do the painting that I've been talking about. So I've got my easel, I've got my stool, and a nice sunny window for that awesome natural lighting. In the middle of the room, I have a large dining table from IKEA, and then above that I have some shelves that are part functional and part decorative, which is pretty much the theme of all of the shelves in my studio. So some of it is just purely for display, but then I also have things like washi tape and my journal and fountain pen ink bottles that I just think are really pretty, but I also use them from time to time. Underneath I have some cork boards that I have pictures and different paper ephemeras pinned to it. And then on the tray there are some books that I'm currently reading. I've got The Happy Homebody by Elizabeth Gray, super talented lettering artist. Then I have The 30-Day Sketchbook Project, which is by Minnie Small, one of my absolute favorite artists here on YouTube. And then we have Rise, a pop history of Asian America, and this is by a couple of our favorite Asian American creators here on YouTube. So I will be linking all of those in the video description below. Definitely check them out. Love to support fellow creators here on the internet. Then I have a whole bunch of supplies in this set of drawers underneath here. So this is another IKEA item. I know I've got a lot of stuff from IKEA, but the top drawer is for all of my stamping supplies. I've got ink pads, wooden stamps, clear stamps, and all the things that you need for stamping, such as these acrylic blocks. And then I also have some glue and some fabric for cleaning off my stamps after I use them. In the next drawer, I have a lot of writing utensils. So these boxes are all from Warby Parker. It's what the glasses come in, and they're just the perfect size for holding pens. And they're not just my Warby Parker boxes, they're also my husband's. So these are collected from over the years as our prescriptions change. I've got all kinds of fine liners, some mild liners, pencils, gel pens, brush pens, calligraphy pens, and I also have this tiny little set of novelty miniature colored pencils, which are so cute, and my son loves to draw with them. For the third drawer, we have a bunch of watercolor palettes. I've got my Kuretake Kansai watercolor palette, which I love. Then I've got some Daniel Smith tubes of watercolor paint. I've got some Fine Tech, which is now a different brand. I know they rebranded, but I can't remember what the name of it is. And I've also got some Blick watercolor tubes and some fountain pen samples from Goulet Pens, and then some palettes that are like the metal travel palettes. So lots of different things in here. Oh, and some gold leaf and copper leaf for, when I want to make something shiny. Underneath that, we have some art paper. This has lots of different kinds of paper, such as like Rhodia calligraphy practice pads, and then I have some Arches watercolor paper. Underneath that is tracing paper, Bristol paper, and even a scroll of rice paper. Under that is some more paper. We've got different paper ephemera for journaling, scrapbooking, collaging, some stickers and labels, some handmade Locta paper, and I think you may have seen some of these papers before in previous videos if you like watching my journaling videos. I love this stack of scrapbook paper, never get tired of it. And then finally we have my humble bookbinding drawer. This has rulers, book cloth, some heat and bond for making book cloth, clamps and some linen thread, like waxed linen thread. I'm a novice when it comes to bookbinding, but it's something that I've been interested in lately. On the other side of the table, I have the same drawer from IKEA, and this one holds all of my sticker making supplies and things like that. I've tucked this self-healing cutting mat on top, which fits really nicely, and the first few drawers holds stacks of sticker sheets that I've already cut out. All of these boxes are from packaging materials. I repurpose them, especially if they're like flat like this and they can lay nicely in this drawer. I save it for storage solutions. Next, I have some labels and printer paper and some sticky mats for my cutting machine. Then I have some packaging materials such as chipboard for, backing when I send things out, and then some stamps and tissue paper. And then I have some specialty printer paper such as thicker cardstock, black cardstock, and then photo paper underneath that. And then lastly, I have this drawer full of sticker paper from Online Labels. So you can take a look at that if you're curious about what types of paper I use. Next, we have my computer desk, and this is where I do all of my editing, and I also have my sticker cutting machine hooked up to it, so that's what I use for all of my product making and printing. And this is the FlexiSpot sit stand desk. So it's really cool because it's automatic and it actually has a lot of features as well. So you can adjust the height by pressing the up and down arrows, and it goes up pretty high. But there's also 4 preset buttons that you can assign different heights to. And if you press it, it just automatically goes to the height that you want. So I have a sitting height, a standing height, and then I also have 2 settings for my husband who uses my desk occasionally, and his are set to 3 and 4. Mine's are 1 and 2. The top is a bamboo laminate, so it's not real bamboo, but as you can see, it looks pretty similar to my riser, which I've placed on top, and that's actually made of real bamboo. I have a bunch of my favorite items on my desk, such as my pouch, which has all of my notebooks and journals that I'm currently using, and my favorite pens and highlighters. And I also have some things tucked away into the drawer here. This is one of my favorite parts about the desk because my son still doesn't realize that this is a drawer. It's kind of hidden away in the design of the desk. And I have some stamps, post-it notes, more pens and more highlighters, and then a couple of gadgets in there. It's really smooth and I just really enjoy this desk. So thank you, FlexiSpot, for sending this over. To the right of my desk, I have another shelf from IKEA, and this has all of my printers and cutters. So this is my Canon Megatank printer. I just do general printing on this. And then I've got some envelopes and a scale for weighing mail. Then I have my Silhouette Cameo 4. This is what I use to cut out my stickers. Got a storage box next to it. And then I have this huge collection of washi tape and stamps. Underneath that, I have my beast of a printer. This is the Canon Pixma Pro 100 for large prints. And then I have 2 crates full of more sticker paper and packaging supplies. Finally, there is a comfortable armchair by the front window, but let's be real, it's more of a dog bed for Captain here. And that's it for my studio tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm always rearranging my things, but this feels like a really good setup for me at the moment. I want to hang more art on the walls and switch out the rug when my kids are older. But for now, this is what my studio looks like, and it feels so good to be back. All right, have a great one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.